definitely talking about helping someone. This is what this episode is specifically geared towards.
Mm-hmm.
This one, it's in the month of October, cancer awareness, and this is where we gauged into this conversation. The reason why we brought Homie on for sure, and even prior to even getting to this, like she said, the first thing I like, hold on, before we get into all this, how you doing? Like for real. And
Okay.
and I have to add that emphasis for
Mhm.
real, because people be like, oh, that's a cliche, and they be like, I'm good.
Mhm.
No, like, can you expound? Like, are you
Mhm.
really good? Because I'm here. Because I
Mhm.
won't even ask you if you can't handle it. And she was like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. So we're cancer awareness, and my
Mhm.
homie went on that side, and our gear of this conversation was to not only just talk to like a cancer survivor, but someone who had to experience someone close to them go through it.
Mhm.
And this is why I reached out to my homie for that purpose
Mhm.
and reason. You might tell the people who are the two people that went through it, so they
Mhm.
can see like, wow, it's not even just this; it was that at the same time,
Yeah.
and kind of.
Of course, I would love to. The first person was my best friend. We've grown up since diapers. I've known her my whole life. She was diagnosed with melanoma skin cancer from a mole on her back that just kept growing from being exposed to the sun. And we were sun babies, so we were always out in the sun. And the sun was touching and didn't know anything about it because we're younger. We don't know about cancer. We don't know about, oh my gosh, I got a lot of moles and this mole could be cancer. You don't know that. So when it got massive and we realized, hey, let's go get it checked out. Her family got it checked out and it turned out that it was skin cancer. And you know, it went away. But one thing with cancer, it tends to always come back.
Mhm.
And it came back aggressively years later. And when it came back, she called me and she just like, the cancer's back. And at this time, I was moved over to Alabama with my mom. She told me to come up there, to fiend for me while I go to college. And I was excited. And I go there and I get a call from my best friend and she just like, I need you. I need you here. And I'm like, screw school.
Yeah.
I'm there, and what I did when I got that phone call, when I got off that phone call, I literally opened my suitcase and I crawled in my suitcase and I covered it and just
Wow.
broke down. And when I think about it now that I'm okay with talking about it was a fear of someone seeing me cry. It was a fear
Mm.
of my mom seeing me cry or my brother because you're always this strong person. So I'm afraid to show weakness because I'm the one that they come to.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to stop coming to me because you want to handle me with care. It's just life. People go through things. I'm going to cry, but I didn't think people would receive that well because I never really cried in front of them. I
Hmm.
always just took on stuff like, okay, I got you. What we got to do next,
Yeah.
So I sat in that suitcase, I cried, and then I got out, wiped my tears, went downstairs, told my mom, and I'm like, I gotta go. And during that time, I've noticed that when I would brush my mom hair or do certain things for her, I noticed that, hair was falling out, and she had fibroids. And, when I go downstairs to tell her, she's sitting on the couch with my brother, and her stomach looked like she's pregnant with triplets, and she doesn't have
Wow.
kids. And I'm in the medical field at the time studying it, going to school in Alabama. And, I'm telling my sister, like, our mom has cancer, and it's not easy to say something like that, but
Yeah.
it's a crazy world to study medicine that you're open to knowing certain signs.
Yeah.
So I tend to always call it, and I'm like, our mom has cancer, and I'm getting cursed out. Like, why would you say that? But I left to take care of my best friend. And the moment I made it back to Florida to care for her, I get a call within days from my mom. I've been diagnosed with cancer. So now I'm there like, um, so what do I do?
Yeah.
Do I stay or do I go back? Like, what am I gonna do? And that had to been the scariest call of my life because I'm like, oh my God, life is about to happen. And how you're gonna take it? Are you gonna fall apart? Are you gonna keep it together? Or
Hmm.
what are you gonna do? So I was frantic and I just bawled in my car. I just sat in my car and I cried and I cried and I cried. I'm like, okay, mom, well, I'm coming back to you. And she's like, no, I'm older. She's like, she's younger. She needs you. So I'm like, okay, fine. And I'm going to stay here. But what you're going to do, because I need you.
Yes.
So she was like, I'm just going to move back. And I'm like, okay,
And moved
we're
back
going
to
to move
Florida.
together. Yeah.
Oh,
She
okay.
decided, she's going to move back. We're going to move together. We're going to do it. I'm like, great. So she moved back and I cared for my best friend. I was with her with all her appointments. And then the worst thing you could hear from the doctor is, oh, she has XYZ time. She's not going to make it to her birthday. And it's like, huh? So I was scared because her birthday was October 19th. And this was late August that they said that. And
Mm.
we're stepping into September. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And, as the days got closer and, to see her, I'm there with her at the hospital, I'm caring for her. I'm, spending nights there just to make sure she's okay. I had a time that even her tumors one time when I helped her use the restroom, her tumors like burst in my hands.
Wow.
And I'm holding her while she's using the restroom and it's like just blood, and it's the scariest thing. And I remember cursing the nurse out that day and I'm like, get the hell out of here because
Mm.
she's like, what are you doing? You don't have gloves. And I'm like, this is my best friend. What am I going to get from this tumor person? Or I have cancer now from the blood on my
Mhm,
hands.
mhm.
So I told her to get out and I told her to give us a different nurse. But long story short, I was there with her throughout the time. She knew I wasn't strong enough for it. So she will always say, are you okay? And I'm like, you're in your bed. Like, don't ask me if I'm okay,
Yeah, yeah.
but I have to be accepting of things. Like a lot of time we say, don't ask me this or don't tell me this when it's like, no, be okay with that person asking you that.
Yeah.
So with her asking me that, it's like, it's because she genuinely care, but you're fighting it because like, no, you're going through this. Don't dare ask me,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it's like, no, let them ask you that because it's okay for you to tell them how you feel and
Mhm.
they're going to tell you how they feel.
Mhm.
So that happened and I would just go outside the room and cry my eyes out so she don't see me crying. She knew every time I was crying. And then it got to the day of, the priest came, we prayed, and she took her last breath, September 8th. And which her anniversary just passed, which is
Yes.
always very hard for me. But this was September 8th of 2013. And yeah, it was very, very tough. And then to know that my mom has cancer now and you guys are within the same stages, it's scary. And then we had another friend who mom had lung cancer. So we called ourselves like a little triangle. We're like, dang, like how do we support each other? These are my best friends and we're
Mhm.
all here dealing with aggressive cancer. And I'm like, wow. So they told my mom she had a couple of months after my best friend, and she wound up giving us 5 more years, which is crazy.
Mm.
We cared for her. My brother changed her eating habits. Like, no, this is not going to happen.
Yeah.
We're going to get up and walk.
Yeah.
I'm taking everything out the fridge. And, it's crazy because what people don't know on the outside is that when you care for someone, everything about you has to change. So I was cutting my hair when her hair was falling out. I'm like,
Mhm.
girl, what's hair?
Yeah.
So I'm cutting it. She was like, my hair. And I'm like, girl, forget that hair.
Mhm.
So, and then changing your habits. So I went vegan, I went vegetarian, I went pescatarian because it's like, if you got to eat this stuff, who
Imma
am
eat
I
it.
to not eat it with you? We're going to do
Mhm.
it together because that's how you show support.
Yeah.
And a lot of people feel like support is just saying, are you okay? Or what can I do? And it's like, no, you have to take that first initiative to show them that you're supporting because this is a tough time and you can never know what someone like that is going through.
That's true.
So I'm the type of person that's like, I have a huge heart. So it's like, I want to know what you're going through because I want to go through it with you,
Yeah.
and you could be a stranger, but it's like, maybe you don't have that type of, help or
Support. Mhm.
support. So, when it did happen, I'm like, okay, dang. And then my friend mom passed and then I'm here with my mom and she's here.
Mhm.
That took a toll on me because it's like, dang, are you going to want to support me still? So I kind of closed in and went into this hole of just caring for my mom and not really letting people in because it's like, I didn't know how people were going to receive it because these people near and dear to me had people. And it's like, who is my mom to still be here? So it's like, I'm sitting here just like, dang, like, I don't want to ask you anything. I don't want to tell you to do anything for
It
me because
would you say it's a form of, in a sense, of survivor guilt in your version?
that's deep. Survivor guilt.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Because I'm sad,
Yeah.
and it's like I feel guilty, and it's kind of just like, why? Why are you making yourself feel guilty for your mom? It's a blessing,
Mhm.
and but that goes for me caring. I'm caring, and I'm just thinking of everyone else, all in the midst of caring for myself, you
Yes.
know. So, my mom wind up, going into the hospital, and then it started going downhill after years, and we knew it was coming. And it's crazy because I always knew when it was coming.
Mm.
So when I started seeing certain things, I'm like, yeah, y'all, this is a sign. And then I was in charge with my brother with making certain decisions. And it's like, I'm not even 30. It's like, how do you and I'm the youngest.
Yes.
So it's like now you gotta make decisions on big steps for your mom. And you
Yeah.
don't know it could be the wrong decision.
Yeah.
And they trusting in me because I'm studying medicine is kind of like I do my research and it's traumatizing, and I know I'm not the only one that had to do that. I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of people who had people in their lives that had cancer, they had to make tough decisions that people
Funeral
don't even know.
decisions.
But the
Yeah.
only thing that people see is They posted on social media that, hey, my cousin, sister, auntie is diagnosed with cancer. Okay, they're doing this treatment. Okay, they passed.
Yeah.
This is the date of the funeral.
Yeah.
And then all they see is the in memories every year of the anniversary.
Mhm.
They don't get to see what really went down on the
The
inside.
whole
And
time.
that's the hard part. So a lot of people come to me because they take it as, dang, like we're looking through you through the social media lenses,
Mhm.
and my God, you
Mhm.
look like the strongest person,
Yeah.
Not knowing that after my mom passed, I fell into the worst deep depression ever. I told my friends I didn't want to be their friends no more.
Mhm.
I stayed in my house. It was the darkest place I've ever been in. And I freaked out. And I
Yeah.
will never go there again.
Mhm.
But I didn't have support because I didn't allow it. You get me?
Mm.
And that's the problem with a lot of people. But I had friends that would come to my house and they left notes on my door.
Oh.
And these notes I still have. I laminated and all. And they just
Mhm.
like, I know you don't want to answer the door, but we know you in there. And we
Mhm.
just hope you're okay. We just want to let you know that we love you.
Yeah.
That took me a long way. That's what helped me get out of that black hole.
Yeah.
But people don't have that, you
Yeah.
know? So it's a lot of people going through depression. They're in mental homes or, they're going through a lot of stuff because they don't have that support, you
Yeah.
know? So when people reach out to me, they tend to say, I don't want to ask this, but it's like, no, ask me. So when
Mm.
you reach out to me, like, is it okay? And I'm like, hey, don't you dare treat me like I'm
Yeah,
fragile.
yeah,
Yes, it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I'll do it,
yeah.
but to watch two people take their last breath, it's like
Mm.
unheard of,
No,
and
it is
it's back to back
it
trauma.
it